Pretty high up there.
Nice. Yeah, I'm pretty much level.
What year of school are you in?
Oh man, that's kind of difficult because I'm homeschooled. So,
Ah,
yep, I'm just finishing up my senior year in high school, and I'm in my second year of college. Don't ask me how I did that.
yeah. Well, obviously you are. Well, I homeschooled my son.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
Um, Not as good an education as I would have liked to have given him.
Yeah.
Not as good an education as I got in the public schools when I was a kid, but I'm an old guy now.
Yeah.
Um, I was reading Shakespeare in 8th grade. I
Yeah.
don't they're even reading Shakespeare anymore. I don't know.
I doubt it.
Yeah, and so for me, it was a great disappointment that my son did not get what I considered to be the quality of it. But I'm not rich, so I couldn't afford to send him to some fancy private school. And so, I didn't have a choice. I didn't want him in the city schools of L.A., which were gang, gun, and drug-ridden.
Oh, yeah.
So I kept him from that as best I could, but all his friends in the neighborhood were involved in those kinds of things.
Mm.
It's pretty hard,
Oh, it is, yeah. Well, I think you made a good choice about that, though.
How old are you?
I'm 16.
Really?
Yeah.
I was guessing you for about 21 or 22.
Oh, no.
There you go. Well, that's compliment to your folks or whoever did the homeschooling.
Yeah. That's my parents,
No,
yeah.
you did well. Your
Well, thank you.
questions are good, and
Yeah.
you're obviously beyond the average 16-year-old kid that I've met.
Which isn't saying much for these days, but yeah.
Well, I mean,
Thank you.
look, it's always compared to what.
Right,
It's
exactly.
not fair to compare to what was going on when I was in school 50 years ago.
Right, then I...
Things have changed a lot in 50 years, so what can I tell you? I'm
Right.
63 years. I'm 63.
Okay.
So I'm not a kid anymore.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I can still do everything I did when I was your age.
Oh, I believe it.
Only now it hurts.
Oh. Very nice. Oh.
Yeah. So what other questions might you have? I imagine you got some more, huh?
Oh yeah. Just a couple more. Let's see. Well, first
Well,
off.
I just want to make sure that we get covered before my guests arrive. I've got people going to be here around 2.
Yeah. You can go anytime you need to.
Well, no,
I
it's okay.
really appreciate this.
Look, when they get here and they get in the house, if we're still talking, I'll say, okay, well, that's all the time I have now.
Okay.
We can always do this some more. If you have other questions, we'll just set up another time.
Oh, well, thank
Do you
you.
have a deadline?
Do I have a deadline? No, I don't. Actually, I'm just doing this just for my website and stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Okay.
it's just kind of a personal interest. I just wanted to hear about this.
Okay.
So, and I thought,
And look, better to get it from the horse's mouth, somebody who's been there and done it.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Instead of the opinions that so many people have that are based solely on their reading somebody else's story and
Right.
information and then making up their own stuff.
Right.
And there's too much of that. It's,
Yeah.
like I said, science by press release. Not the way it should be done.
It's not the way to do it, yeah.
No.
Okay, well, one question I had was, how do you think the image was imprinted on the shroud? Because I've heard of various theories.
Think about this.
Yeah.
The primary goal of the STIRP team in 1978
Yeah.
was simply to determine how the image was formed.
Gotcha.
We came back with a wealth of data. It took 3 years just to reduce the data for the final report of our team, which resulted in 24 peer-reviewed or journal papers.
Yeah.
All the questions, the one question we went primarily to answer, we couldn't come up with an answer. If you go to my webpage to the 1978 scientific exam page, you can find it from the main menu and the library page.
Gotcha.
There are the STIRP final conclusions. And read that, and it'll answer the question you just asked me. It says that we cannot determine a mechanism that will account for all the physical and chemical properties of this image. We don't have. So in the STIRP conclusions, they said that perhaps our team, which of course isn't going to happen, or some other team in the future can do further research that might be able to better answer the question. In the end, we were able to tell you what it's not.
Right.
Not a painting, not a photograph.
Yeah.
We couldn't tell you what it is. We don't know a mechanism that can encode three-dimensional or spatial data into an image. The density or darkness of the image on the shroud is directly proportionate to the distance it was from the body.
Right.
In places where there's direct contact, on top of the hands, on top of the nose, we have not only the darkest parts of the image, we also have, great detail, but we also have imaging taking place at a distance of up to 4 centimeters between the two. Now, what mechanism does that? The closest scientific answer that I believe anyone has come up with, and it's highly controversial and not widely accepted, is the theory of Ray Rogers, which is actually based on a theory by a Frenchman from the 30s, a guy named Paul Vignon, Vignon. Vignon claimed, he called it his vaporograph, that the the gases escaping from the body discolored the surface of the cloth, and all of us, everybody sort of went, nah, there's no way you're going to get an image with this much resolution in it.
Right,
and everybody sort of shoved that aside for years, including Ray Rogers, who was head of the chemistry of the STIRB team and had been at Los Alamos National Laboratories as a chemist for 35 years. No slouchy guy, smart chemist, world-renowned.
Yeah.
And Rogers originally discounted that, but came back to that theory toward the end of his life.
My.
He died in 2005. And you can read his article called something about a Maillard reaction is in the title. You can find it on the library page.
Okay.
That's the closest that I believe anyone's come to a scientific explanation for the Shroud's image. It accounts for the 3D properties. It accounts for the distance to density correlation.
Yeah.
That, that there was imaging taking place up to 4 centimeters away, distance between cloth and body. And the image grows more faint as it gets further from the body. The cloth got further from the body.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that proved Nicholas Allen's protophotography theory wrong.
Right.
His image, if you look at it and read the article I wrote, you'll see it has a nice, sharply defined edge outlines, like a sharply focused photograph would.
Right.
The Shroud image is just the opposite. There are no edges anywhere. The image just sort of fades out.
Right.
Exactly. Gradually just fades out to nothing. And consequently, there is no distinct image, and that's why we know it wasn't made by a lens focusing light onto a light-sensitive emulsion. First of all, there's no sign of any emulsion ever been on that cloth, and as I've already explained. And secondly, the image properties are not those of an image made by light. That's it. So that eliminates those possibilities. So the answer to the question is, we can tell you what it's not, but we can't exactly tell you how it was, how it got there.
Could it deal with radiation? I've heard that theory.
Well, that was one theory. Some people are looking for some form of unknown radiation that would represent the resurrection.
Right, yeah.
And, resurrection isn't a scientific term.
No, it's not.
Resurrection, the only way to test for resurrection is it's a test of faith.
Right.
Scientists can't go into a laboratory, resurrect people, see what kind of images we can make. So it's not a scientifically testable theory. And here's the other problem.
Yeah.
You cannot use an unknown to prove another unknown. That's one of the basic tenets of the scientific method.
Right.
Okay? So there you have it. That can't be any of those things. And you can't use those kind of tests to proclaim things about the Shroud because it doesn't fall into those categories.
Exactly.
It's unique. Look, I'm a professional photographer. Been into it since I was 9 years old. Had my first darkroom at about age 13.
Wow.
13 or 14, something like that. I've been doing this a long time. This is nothing like a photographic image, and it's nothing like a painting. And anyone who's seen it in person will tell you there's no way that's a painting. It's only those people who've only seen it in photographs that can claim anything they want.
Right.
But it's all BS, just like my initials. I have to be careful. I don't want to corrupt you. You're a young man, so, But I'm sure your parents are very proud of you because, you're a very intelligent, articulate young man.
Oh, thank you. I hope so.
I would have guessed you to be, like I said, a good bit older.
Yeah.
So it's nice it's encouraging to see young people. And why was I so quick to say yes to an interview? Because I have spent the last 14 years at least trying to encourage young people to take an interest in this subject matter because if you've seen the website, you'll notice that this year alone I published 8 obituaries. All the guys are dying. We're all getting old.
Yeah.
And we need to stimulate younger people to be interested in this subject and perhaps become the future researchers of the Shroud. And so when I travel to Europe, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be in Vancouver in April.
Yeah.
In Vancouver, BC. And while there, I'm lecturing not only to adults, but to school kids from 4th grade through 12th for the same reason, to stimulate interest, encourage them to open their minds to something maybe that, look, you know, in my life, there were people who inspired me, not because they intended to inspire me, but by their actions, by their consideration, by their willingness to take time to explain things to me. They served as an inspiration for things that I did later in my life.
Yeah.
Now, one never knows when you talk to somebody whether you're going to serve that purpose in their lives or not. And matter of fact, no one will know that until 20, 30 years later, you know?
Yeah.
But I make the effort because my concern is that, you know, there are not that many people that interested in this subject to dig into it deep the way some of us have.
Right.
And remember, this doesn't even represent my personal faith or beliefs.
Yeah.
But that's not the issue. It's not about me.
That gives you more credibility.
Yeah, see, it doesn't